I'm your host, Jezza Chronic, here at the Jezza Villa. I just went for a mad ride, feeling pretty good, got another iced coffee, and that was a nice little cruise. Uh, yeah, hopefully we get 7 watches at least, and then I'll continue on. Until then, see what's on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying the fucking content. Put up some couple of shorts there. Enjoy, legends. Enjoy the lives that you've missed out on. Oh, who was that? Was that Leo King? Oh, fuck. Missing it. How long's that been going for? Probably the whole time I've been out. Jesus. 35. Alright, well, I'm going to have to watch this, and we're going to have to go a little bit quicker. And start that there.
Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Voice Code for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer. Julio King here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Thanks so much for being a part of HighVibe.tv. If you are not, tell me is now the time to join. You can go to HighVibe.tv and click on Join Now, of course, and get access to all the shows that we do. Of course, my Deep Astrology, I've now made it to where you can, if you're not a subscriber, you can go in the watch section here and you can find Deep Astrology, which will always be in the new this week, and you can purchase it for $5. So if you just want to help HighVibe out by just watching Deep Astrology only, you can pay that $5 a week, or you can get the discount of $13 a month. You can access to every video that is done every day on HighVibe TV. So, of course, at the same time, HighVibe AI, we've added the human design element to it, and we have a lot of new updates coming over this next month of July. I hope everybody's doing well. YouTube world, yeah, we had our child, we had our son, Asher, June 27th, so it's going to be 2 weeks tomorrow after the full moon at 1:38. Saturn station retrograde 2 days after this full moon, and of course Saturn is the planet that rules Capricorn, so this full moon definitely bringing up that Saturn that's starting to station. At the same token, we are in a Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is so close to the conjunction but will not conjunct until February next year, and we just saw Neptune retrograde. We have Mercury on its way to retrograde in a week from this full moon. So I think it's really important to remember that this is a time that you gotta, whatever is going on that needs to get handled, what are the elephants in the room? You just can't be in that kind of Cancerian, lazy, oh, everything's just going to be fine. No, you got to actually take care of business and get on top of things right now. And it might feel like you are in Wonderland and I got to just figure this out. The time is now. Yeah, you got to do it now. Once Saturn retrogrades, the universe doesn't open up anymore for you to really go in the world. So this is definitely a blessing, this full moon, to take care of it now, whatever has to be done, get the things on your to-do list, the things that you want to achieve, the elephants in the room that you have to address, the business situations. There's no more Pluto here, but there was no Pluto in Capricorn during the full moon last year in Capricorn when we had that weird solstice full moon. And we had 2 full moons in Capricorn, if you don't remember, last year. We're not having that this year. This was another one I had. It is kind of like a business meeting of your comfortable self and the things that need to get done here. These are, of course, just the fun kind of illustrations that I like to do.
Who's going to do it?
We have to also remember that in the heliocentric astrology right now, we are seeing Venus during this full moon going to make its conjunction, finishing its conjunction with Saturn at the end of Pisces in heliocentric, and then, of course, crossing over the 0 Aries spot, right. And then coming in conjunction with Neptune, which is sitting there at the 1 degree spot, and telling him heliocentrically, what the hell? Please do not go out right now. What the heck? Hold on one second. This is just... So there's a huge stellium happening right now. If you watch Deep Astrology, of course, on HighVibe, I actually take you through Apple Vision Pro and through the full VR experience, take you into the Helio experience. to feel it, like literally. So it's been cool. I've been doing that for the last couple weeks. I always take the Helio in every weekly, but I don't really talk about it too much here on full and new moon horoscopes. But for example, I will bring it up here. I know this is kind of going ass backwards, but we are now Uranus and Gemini, which I did see some comments. People were asking me like, "Where are you? Why aren't you showing up on YouTube?" I'm like, "Just a baby," and I do it on High Vibe every day. But you can see here by the end of this week, after the full moon, you see Venus, Neptune, Saturn. So we have this big stellium happening at the beginning and the end of the zodiac. And this one's important because it's not like there's a lot of stuff showing up with Saturn and Neptune. Of course, Mercury every 88 days, but seeing Venus here definitely makes this full moon have a bigger special quality to it, I would say.
What is with
and
this
much more
community, man?
an important time to focus on. Of course, and there's going to be also Venus coming into square with Jupiter by the end of this week, and then we come into that Mercury retrograde. So we remember this full moon happening at the 18th, 19th degree. So, you know, this is by the time we get to 22 degrees, which ironically enough is the degree in which Saturn Pluto back in 2020 conjuncted. So if you go watch Deep Astrology, you'll understand more about that. Now, I'm a big stickler as an astrologer about Saturn retrogrades and Saturn stationing direct. You know, it's the tough thing I have to tell people that when Saturn's stationing retrograde like we're in right now, it's like, this is as far as the line goes, as much as you can really take on. So, you know, trying to start new things in Saturn.
Narcissists do this at the end of every relationship. At the end of any relationship with a narcissist, there's always one thing you can count on them to do. And this is really how you know that you're dealing with a narcissist. Because at the end of it, they will turn around and blame you. They will play the victim and act like it was all your fault. Which is crazy when you think about it, because you were there for them that entire time, serving them, helping them, providing to them. And yet at the end of it, they turn around and they blame you. They discard you suddenly and coldly, and then they move on instantly with a new supply, as though you never mattered. You never meant anything to them. And yeah, this is really how you know that you were dealing with a narcissist, because a normal person is not going to turn around and treat you that way. They're not going to treat the person who was there for them all of that time, doing things for them. They're not going to go and throw that person under the bus. But of course, this is what narcissists do. This is what all narcissists do at the end of a relationship to their victims. And it's because they're very insecure. Deep down, they know that it was their fault. Deep down, they know that they weren't good enough for you. And this truth is really revealed in the extreme actions that you see following the discard, where they bring in all of their flying monkeys and start a smear campaign against you, try to isolate you, monitor your every move, control everything that you do. I mean, think about it, this is all very extreme. These extreme actions are a result of their own extreme feelings that they cannot control. And so they try to control it and regulate their emotions by controlling you. Because you are a mirror to a narcissist. You cause them to feel insignificant, unworthy. And this is why they blame you, because they know that you were the opposite of them. And that you were always trying, you were always doing more, trying to please them. So yeah, this is what they will do. At the end of the relationship, they will always blame the victim. Narcissists do this at the end of every relationship.
Retrograde is worse, I think, than in a Mercury
Interesting. That
Saturn doesn't
isn't
go farther this year, and it only just arrived here in Aries, right? And it's in retrograde back in Pisces, and we're seeing it in very close conjunction with Neptune. Yeah, it's not going to conjunct here yet, which is mind blowing, but that just shows you the unique perspective of how
I'd have
perfect
7 viewers
the divine science is, not the man-made kind of craziness that people live here, which is probably isn't even man-made, you know, it's matrixy. But I would say that, you know, we have to remember that this is a full moon where we have grown so much, and we are growing now into new areas with Jupiter Cancer, this Sun Cancer highlighting that energy on the opposite side of this full moon, and we're done with Capricorn, right? So I think there's that reminder, like, you've grown when it comes to
for everybody.
what to take on in your life, what to have meaning with, and so with all the Jupiter Cancer energy, there's discomforts that are showing up, and we're here to experience, we're here to grow and go, how do I take care of myself better, how do I nurture myself better, how do I also maintain my support around energy that has meaning, is the way I'm looking at this full moon Capricorn, like, what still has meaning to it, what doesn't. You know, I also think because we do have Saturn about to retrograde in Aries, we have Chiron still in Aries,
two
of
or
course,
three
and Neptune that's now retrograde in
photo
Aries.
fans
It is kind
might
of
be
this
able to
thing where it's like, is your ego still trying to
help
hold this
out with,
kind of part of your
and
life
two
together, or
autos.
associate with this person, or associate with this job, or associate with this
I'm
role
broke.
that you don't want to be anymore?
I've got no
This
weed.
Capricorn energy comes in and goes, you know, it's
There you go.
very important. You've learned since
Let's just make
2008,
this a short
all the
one,
way
eh?
through
If no one's gonna
2024.
fucking rock up.
You know, where we reach too high, or we do things to try and
I'll
get
put it in
seen
the
too
title.
much. But this is where it's on the opposite side, where sometimes
You
you're
guys should
supporting
have watched
something
the
that you think
other
has
two.
meaning,
No one
really
else is
doesn't. Maybe
live.
you're
Just
putting too much
go
emotion
watch
into something that
them.
doesn't mean
What are you
anything,
doing?
really. This woman in Capricorn is
Anyway,
great because
doesn't
it goes,
matter.
you know,
Shout
let's
out
separate the things that
20
really
mob.
don't really have that much
Shout
meaning.
out
We don't have to
420.
get all emotional. We don't need to like go rescue every cat on the street. We don't need to go save every dog in the universe. We can't do that. But that's where we can kind of go a little crazy with Jupiter and Cancer. The moon moves every 2.5 days, so the reason why Jupiter is exalted in Cancer is because the moon definitely every month gets multiple times where it gives it some really high points and some great positions, and always in a good mutual reception at least. Always when it comes to moon Sag, it always definitely goes into higher values there. So it always it makes sense, but it is very much a high-low kind of game with Jupiter and Cancer. And so I think that even though the moon is at detriment, I think it's a good detriment because it reminds us, like, is this even worth the emotion I'm putting into this place? It also is really about the understanding of where things are going. And now that Pluto's gone out of Capricorn,
Don't want no beans.
where are we going now? And that's
Don't
very
be
much
friends.
a mystery with Saturn
You know,
and Aries
you
and
can't do-
Neptune.
can't do
And
the right
especially Saturn
thing,
about to
because
retrograde
you
on
know
Saturday,
what I
2
know.
days after this full moon.
And
And
you
I think
fucking
that for
can't
anybody
even
right now, it's much more about paying
listen to
attention
this.
to
Listen to the
the
one from
understanding of
two.
like what to identify in your life, and
Cancer
also
moon.
not to trip yourself
Listen
out
to
too
this.
much. Let's
Do the right fucking thing. Like, what the fuck? Huh?
So we've
Right,
got
just
the sun
wasting
here at
my
18
time?
degrees
I'll
of
sleep.
Cancer. We've got the full moon happening at 18 degrees of Capricorn in 50 minutes. So we're seeing actually good aspects to the nodes during this full moon, and so I think this is actually one of the better full
Who
moons
wants
that you see
help
here.
with their like
And
breeding
finally, in a lot
program?
of like pretty
Some
easy
of this
aspects,
stuff
and a lot of
might help
quintiles, a
you.
lot of biquintiles, like pretty smooth energy. I'm actually looking at this as like, this is really like no excuse time. Even with Uranus that's now finally made its ingress into Gemini,
I'm finding
it
people that
is
want
where we have to use
work
more
with me
than just common sense,
when
but
they're
it is
ready.
where logic takes more precedent with intuition at the same time, in not relying on, well, what is the way the system always worked, right? This is us leaving what's kind of old too, because, you know, Capricorn represents old, but it's not an old sign anymore. Pluto's been through there. It is revamped it. So anything where you're still, you know, playing by the old rule book, I mean, like a good example is look at the job market. You're really trying to find the old 9 to 5 still? Like really? With this world AI right now? And look, just pay attention. Just go look where all the VC money's gone. Go see where the economy's working. Like,
Smeared it on there.
you're really gonna just stay and just think you're gonna make your whole life off YouTube? You better be advancing in the next place. Like I've already seen what YouTube's doing. They're already through Google One gonna make it to where you're in a chatbot with Google One and watch your videos through there and be suggested to your chatbot. You're not gonna be searching for videos in you. And I think people have no fucking clue what's coming. And this is like this moment to get serious. Like, do you really know where things are going in your life? I know it's hard with Saturn, Neptune, Aries, and this is also where you need to come, right? It's almost like,
Got
you know,
$20
remember
to
that
my
Aries
name.
is a sign of the infant. We're at this infant stage of like what this new world looks like. We're at the portal like gate with 1 foot in it, and we also have this subconscious foot. It's
Fucking
in the old
a
ways.
lobster.
And we're gonna go back
20,
to Saturn,
20,
Neptune,
and
coming
that's
back to
it.
Pisces, and Uranus coming back into Taurus.
No weed.
What's interesting about this full moon in Capricorn is for the last 7
2 days
years,
left.
there's always been something in Capricorn. In Taurus.
Plenty of
There's nothing in
packs.
Taurus. And by the way, during the last 7 years,
Got nowhere to live in 3 months.
A North Node solar eclipse in Taurus, which hadn't happened since the 80s. It missed
Maybe.
the whole double cycle. Okay,
Takes it
of the
back.
moon. So that was rare. We had Jupiter and Uranus
She should.
in 2023.
She's just
in
gonna
Taurus.
get drilled
So
by fucking
there's no Taurus.
Satan.
This is a full
She's
moon in
gonna get
Capricorn.
butt
with no
fucked by Satan.
with Mars in the South Node, and I think this is, I mean, if you're on high vibe, you know this, but a lot of these people out there don't. And I
Capricorn
always
full
say,
moon.
this is the
What do you think that
loser's
is?
alignment, meaning
Capricorn.
people feel like they're going to
Right,
give up
go.
with Mars in the
Right,
South
yeah.
Node.
What's that?
That, you know, this is where, you know, you have to remember
Someone's
this is a
there.
moment where you
Shout
try
out
and
whoever
fight
you
too
are.
hard, you ain't going to get it. It's not
I'm
about
about to piss
It's not about
off because
pushing
I didn't
too
think
hard.
anyone was going to rock
And
up.
being in
So
Virgo,
I'm
you
gonna
can
have
have
to
this
grab and
really
go.
small perspective
But
of
if you can
reality
get
and how they
7
want to
people
keep
in
working
here,
the way that it always has been
we'll
in my
show the rest of
terminology,
the packs.
humdrum. It's not going to work that way anymore, especially
If
with
you know-
Saturn and
if
Neptune
you're-
that's
if you're in-
dispositing
if you're in the
Mars.
group,
Mars is
community,
the
or whatever.
South Node in Virgo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
else
think
I'm
that,
just
you know,
gonna
this
go
is definitely where
Pay attention
the
to
old ways
Leo
of reality and your old
Cheers.
identity and how you think it used to work and operate is very mechanical. This mechanical version of reality is malfunctioning. And instead of freaking out,
I'm not fucking
the
around.
way that you get through it is go, all right,
7
just let
people.
it, let it
Go
go,
get-
and let's
go
actually see
gather them
where
up.
we purify
Share it
by
out.
North Node Pisces. And I like this because this full moon really is tapping
Cheers.
into like where can we make the dream come
Peace.
true with meaning. Saturn's with Neptune.
Stay
Saturn is
magical,
not
stay
retrograde
toasted.
by the time this full moon hits its apex. I mean, it's coming within 20 or 48 hours, but you know, Saturn doing 14 seconds a day, I mean, that's barely fucking moving, but hey, is a blessing. Like, the bigger dreams in your life and the risk it takes to do, this is where you take that big risk, right? You don't, you know, you're never going to get your dream unless you take the risk. You know, I just saw a Gary Vee video, and I can't believe that guy. You know, I've been following him a long time. I think it's like 20 years, just like telling people,
You're a bunch of fucking idiots.
why are you still in the job you hate?
Yeah,
like, I can't
see,
even believe
that
how many
person
people are in the job
whoever
they
it
hate.
was.
It really is
Bye-bye.
wild.
Bye-bye.
That guy still gets
Bye.
millions of views, and people being like, yeah, I know I'm scared.
Bye-bye.
It's like,
Bye.
I can't believe we went through the whole Pluto Capricorn, and Gary Vee's still up there fucking, you're afraid? Like, and then there's only like the one guy who shows up like, I followed what you said, and I followed my dream, and it was scary to leave my job, but, you know, that I hated, and I wasn't making money, but actually I'm happy to make 5 times what I made, you know? It's like, yeah.
Smoking fresh.
And so I think that this is like, this is the
next
checkpoint
ball, I
here.
guess.
Before it's like, if you want to really make this happen,
Any of that actually
let's put those
makes
things
it.
actually into fruition. If you don't, then don't, and wait, and then come to a new world and be kind of last in when everybody rushes in. And next year, especially by the time we get to the spring next year after the Saturn Neptune conjunction, we have Uranus making things into Gemini, and we're fully in the outer planet transits that we'll be in for a while, and the new world will be here, and you'll be kind of catching up. I don't want you to be catching up next year. This is your moment to go, what really has meaning?
Yeah,
you are supported. Now, this is what's crazy.
Awesome ride before.
What Jupiter in Cancer always teaches is that you already have the safety
IRL
net.
stream.
You are protected,
Awesome.
but you don't believe it. Right? Like most people don't believe they're as safe as they really are, or sometimes they don't appreciate the blessings of safety that they
Love
have.
the sound
But you know,
of that
I've always
fucking
thought about
stream,
Jupiter in Cancer. If I see somebody with
Love
Jupiter in
it.
the 4th house in their life, I'm always like, geez, this person's got a pillow. There's no trap door that's just going to fly out. And, oh, God. And, what, you go to the bottomless pit or something? They ain't going to happen. Like right now, we're in a universe with Uranus and Gemini now, and all the outer planets that have finally made their big new changes here. Uranus, of course, and that nice sextile to Saturn, Neptune, the trines to Pluto beginning, the Pluto and sextile to Saturn, Neptune. And like, to be honest, we're in a moment where anything is possible. You could literally create whatever you want. You could literally do everything that is possible. Thank God Pluto's out of Capricorn, because it's like now it's not about this kind of like obsessive, like I need to make it happen, but the natural part of like what true meaning is. Like spiritually, this feels faded in my life. This is what I feel called to do, not because I'm obsessive or because I want to try and like have some sort of emotional deep desire met. It's not about that. It's natural. It's in alignment with the nodes of the planet. And the North nodes in Pisces. It's like, why did you come here? What was your big reason? Like with Mercury at the same token,
Number 3.
getting ready to retrograde 7 days after this full moon, it didn't Leo. It's going to stay in Leo.
And also number 3.
You know, we've done a lot of Leo work. Mars will retrograde in Leo in December of 2024.
Thanks.
There's going to be a lot of retrograde Leo. We saw in 2023 the Venus retrograde in Leo. The first one to start its retrograde in Leo after a couple centuries, right? Since the last time it had started back. As far as starting in Leo, right?
I've
Station
lost
retrograde
myself
Leo.
as a viewer. How does that even happen?
The last one prior to that was like in the 1800s or whatever. The one that started that was 1774. But then we have next year, right? Jupiter's coming into Leo. There'll be Jupiter retrograde Leo, and Mars coming to Virgo, retrograde in Virgo, but retrograde back into Leo. There's a lot happening in Leo over these years. A lot happening in Aquarius. And I think that with this Mercury in Leo, it's like with Uranus now Gemini, it's like,
Boy, cunt.
it better be fun, it better be stimulating, or what are you doing? I mean, if your dream is to be a video game person, this is the moment. If your dream is to do things, and you know, it's about technology, whether you like it or not. I think I saw a good meme today that was like people back in 2010 driving, getting a taxi ride and being like, there'll always be taxis, Uber's not going to be a big deal. And
Catch
like,
up.
2024, it's somebody sitting at a desk like, AI won't take my job. It's like, yeah, you thought taxis were going to stay around? They said that about Vegas too. People get in fucking Ubers
Waste of
in
time
Vegas.
again.
Right? Now we're in
Need to catch
self-driving
up.
fucking taxis.
Watch the other
So for you to think technology is not part of
Come
this
later tonight.
crazy alignment, and what is Capricorn?
Seems like I'm
Capricorn's
wasting
common
my time,
sense
though.
from a grounded approach, right? It's like, well, okay, they see the writing on the wall. I'm gonna make sure that I don't get left behind here. And so, you know, it might be uncomfortable to do the things that have to be done. And I feel like part of it is the communication within ourself, our mind, our thoughts. We've got Venus, Uranus, of course, in Gemini, and we saw both of those be in Taurus. So the whole Venus-Taurus transit was with Uranus. Then there was a 4-day gap when Venus went to Gemini, and then boom, Uranus just ingressed in. And so we're seeing the two planets of relationships be together for longer than normal and switch signs. And so they're going to do that again next year the exact same way, the exact same. Communication is not going to be easy for those elephants in the room. You know, you're going to have those tough talks in order to break yourselves free of the kind of elephant in the room that you don't want to address, or the situation that's in limbo. I think it's very important that this moon in Capricorn takes, with Mercury Leo, like having the courage to actually do what you know you must do. Like, it's uncomfortable, but I got to do this. This is what I don't want to miss out. Like
Next time,
it's like a positive FOMO, meaning
Maybe we're
like
doing too many.
this is a good sign that you feel like you're missing out, so you better do it. You know, like I'm not gonna lie, and I've said
Peace
this
out,
since the
legends.
beginning.
Stay magical.
Once we have the end of
Stay
summer and the
toasty.
eclipses begin, this is
Next
not
time.
going to be easy. It's going to be the
Cheers,
weirdest
you're out.
world we ever saw in the heart. To have to go to this new world and